our next guest, which might need a little bit of explaining what's happening. We have another previous guest from our prior live stream, Sharmini Kumar, director of 24 Karat Productions, Austin Khan, and many other contemporary endeavors on traditional stories. This time, she's going to be on stage to tell us a story about a princess turned suffragette. And this is the bit where I need to explain what's going on. Here is, you know how early in the stream we had Maize playing Ayamani and also Lauren. Well, this is our actor for the day, who may or may not also be named Tiara. But they will take care of all our performers that don't have the game. That is a spoiler. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to look at two screens and I'm lost. This is who's next. Sharmini. There we go. Yay! Finally, suffragette time. I am going to get out and hand the stage over to Sharmini as myself. Give it up for Sharmini.
Thank you, Tiara. Thank you, everyone. I am super thrilled to be here in this game. I am brand new to Animal Crossing, and I just think I look adorable. Yes. So as Tiara mentioned, I'm just about to perform for you a monologue, which is based on a true story. So it is true. And it is part of a series of monologues of various sort of royal-ish and royal-connected women that we're working on. We were working on it for April of 2020, but I'm sure you all know what happened to that as a live performance endeavour. I should also just mention up front a content note that there are descriptions of violence as well as racism and colonialism in the piece tonight. So, yeah, let's get to it. Are you all right? Are you sure? Can I do anything for you? Do you need a medic? If you are sure you are safe, then I must go and find the man that did this to you. Yes, I must. You there, you, stop him. Stop that man. No, not that person, the policeman. The policeman, you, sir, what is your name? Who is your superior officer? What is your badge number? I can see you. I can see V700. V700 is your badge number. You, sir, stop. You there, V700, stop, I say. V700, you are a policeman. You are a public servant and I am a member of the public. You cannot behave in such a manner and expect to get away with it. I saw you pick up that woman and throw her to the ground over and over. How dare you? There is no point in running away. I have your badge number. B700, I will find you. You will be brought to account for your actions today. Coward. If I had my dogs with me, they would have brought him to heel. Did you see what he did? These women were marching peacefully, as is their right. We were marching to demand voting rights for women. There were 300 or 400 of us, and the police were, well, I should call them dogs, but I'm very fond of dogs, and my dogs would never behave in such a manner. Cowards. They target women who they think will be ignored, women of lower birth, who have never been in newspapers or magazines. But I have been in newspapers and magazines, and I saw what happened, and I will not be ignored. I saw him, V700, pick up a woman and throw her to the ground over and over in the year of our Lord, 1910. They believe they can get away with that behavior in this day and age. They would not touch those of us of aristocratic birth. And I am not just anyone. I'm the goddaughter of the late Queen Victoria. I am the daughter of the deposed Maharaja Duleep Singh, and I am the granddaughter of the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the great Maharaja of the Sikh Empire in India. I am Sufia Duleep Singh, and I will not be ignored. They arrest 100 of us. It is not my first time to be arrested. That was when I was 10 years old. My father took all of us children and my mother and tried to go back to India. We knew that something was wrong the whole time we were on the boat. We weren't allowed to leave our berths. We sat quietly and watched our father pace, up and down, going still, every time he heard footsteps pass the door. We were children. We didn't know what he was waiting for until it happened. A knock at the door. 2 men there, British spies. On the orders of my own godmother, Queen Victoria, they detained us. They marched us off the boat in restraints and refused to allow us to return to the land of his birth. It didn't matter that he stormed and raged. It didn't matter that my mother cried. It didn't matter that my sisters were praying. My family had been ignored, perhaps worse than ignored. My father had his kingdom taken from him. When he was 12, the British came to him and they said, "Oh, sir, it is too much responsibility for so young a boy," and they persuaded him to sign his kingdom over to them for safekeeping. The place of his birth, the place of his own kingdom, the place of his throne was ripped from him in his childhood by the British Empire, feigning kindness to hide their thieving ways. My father was brought to England. He did not adjust well. My father has not been the most stable influence in my life, but he has been trampled on and ignored by the British Empire all his life. My father, as he grew, refused to be ignored and made himself a nuisance. It did not end well for him. But however it ends for me, I am determined that I will not be ignored. The police, they don't want to make martyrs of us. They don't want the publicity, so they refuse to imprison me. They know too well what their newspapers would say, so they let us all go without charge. And now I don't have a lot of ways to make myself a nuisance. I'm not a rousing speaker like Mrs. Pankhurst, but I know what I saw, and I know that I will not be ignored. And so I write a letter. "Dear Sir, I would like to inform you of the reprehensible behaviour of one of your uniformed officers. I do not know his name, but his badge number is V700, and I saw it clearly. On the date of Friday, November 18th, at a peaceful march, I saw him lift a poor woman and throw her to the ground. I saw her injuries, I saw her stand in spite of them, and then I saw him, V700, throw her to the ground. I saw her head bounce on the street, and I saw him smile when that happened. I saw her stand up once more, and I saw V700 throw and kick her onto the ground. I trust that you will find this conduct entirely unbecoming of a man charged to serve and protect the public, and I look forward to hearing of the disciplinary action taken. Yours sincerely, Sophia Duleep Singh." I send my letter to the Chief of Police. I send my letter to the Minister. I send my letter to the newspapers. As the days and weeks pass, we hear more of what happened on that Black Friday. The suffragettes were peaceful, exercising our rights in what is supposed to be a democratic society. And we hear stories of women who were touched in inappropriate ways by the policemen. They had their skirts lifted to expose them in public. Many were injured. 2 of our number died of their injuries. died at the hands of an empire that cannot give up even this tiniest of powers to its own people. I wait for a reply to my letter about V700. I will not be ignored. I will not be made nothing like my father. It's just the story of my life. It's the story of my family being trampled by the good men and women of the British Empire. They took my family's wealth and position. They've made us nothing. Well, perhaps not nothing. We're still better off than many of the British subjects in the Indies. The people that my grandfather gave his life to and built up into a proud kingdom. The Sikh people of the Punjab, they have been ground into dust by these soldiers of the British Empire. That is my history. This is my history. The most I have of my family's history is what I wear on my skin. I've been raised to be English, to be Christian, to belong to a place that has stolen me, that has stolen from me, that owns me, but that I can never belong to. I tried many years ago to be an activist for India. I tried to understand the Indian nationalist cause. I believe India should be free from England, but it doesn't seem like my cause. I felt like a visitor in those meetings. I also tried long ago to be an activist for the poor Indian soldiers and sailors that had been used by the British and abandoned by both countries. I saw that they loved my grandfather, the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And I saw that they wanted me to be like him, to be a warrior like him, to be a leader like him, and I knew that I couldn't. I felt like I was wearing a fancy dress costume. The Women's Social and Political Union shouldn't be where I fit in. These women, most of them, are thoroughly English. Many support the colonization of the Indies. For this movement to succeed, it must improve the lot of women of all classes, and I already have the wealth and freedom that many could not dream of. But I still feel like this is my place, my people, my cause. I can refuse to pay taxes or duties until we are free to vote. I can raise money. I can distribute pamphlets. I can write letters about what I saw, and I saw V700 assault a poor woman, and I will not be ignored. We will not be ignored. I will not be ignored. I go one last time to the police station to inquire about my complaint against V700. They show me the note that has come from the Home Secretary. They stand around me, 4 of them, towering over me, while I read one sentence from the highest authority to deal with the matter. Send no more replies to her. WSC. Straight from the Home Secretary. Some of you may have heard of him. You may know him as Winston Churchill. The police laugh as I walk down the steps and away from the station. Maybe I can be ignored. The daughter of a deposed drunken Maharaja is no one in patriarchal Britain. But they cannot ignore us forever. When we band together, when we unite in the cause of rightness and justice, they cannot keep ignoring us. Can they? Thank you.
Thank you, Sharmini. Apologies for that technical difficulties, but I hope you still listen to Sharmini's words, even though the screen went a little bit wonky. Sorry, technical
these things
difficulties.
happen. Technical difficulties.
Technical
Yes.
difficulties.
Amazing performance.
That
Thank
was.
you so
yes.
much.
Oh, gosh.
And you're
Thank
like
you.
working on a whole play about this, aren't you?
we're working on it's a series of monologues about different royal women.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's one of the monologues that we'll probably tweak it a bit, and that will be part of our Regina monologues
Regina
piece.
monologue.
The Regina monologues, yeah.
Yay.
I'm not above a bad pun.
I mean, it's Animal Crossing's full of bad puns.
Absolutely.
So. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Woo!
for having me.
Yeah. All right.